Christian Horner, the man behind the Red Bull Formula One empire, could be about to make an incredible career shift and join forces with Cadillac. Yes, you heard right. While all eyes are focused on the 2025 title battle, a quiet and unexpected move may be taking place behind the scenes. An unlikely alliance involving the former Red Bull boss and the new American team debuting in 2026 is fueling rumors that could completely reshape the Formula One landscape. Could Horner really be willing to work for Cadillac? So stay until the end to understand this news. Like and subscribe to the channel. Christian Horner was fired from Red Bull in early July 2025, a huge bombshell in the paddock. And just weeks later, reports emerged that he was already in contact with Cadillac, the new American team that will enter F1 in 2026. The European press even talks about ongoing contacts, suggesting that Cadillac would need to redesign its structure to fit a dominant figure like Horner. Think, an F1 legend alongside a fledgling project. Shocking. Speculation is gaining momentum with cryptic phrases like replenishing part of the operation and creating high-level positions, something like President of Racing Operations, or a more glamorous title, just to accommodate him, even with Graham Lodon already confirmed as the main team. This move would not be merely symbolic. It would be strategic and ambitious. And it's not just sensationalist publications that reinforce this scenario. On SB Nation, a logical analysis points out that, to Horner, it would be a chance to return to what he did at Red Bull, building a team from scratch, without inheritance, without historical pressure, something that fits his profile like a glove. For Cadillac, it would have a direct effect on the American market, and that's not all. F1 personalities are adding to the buzz. Jeremy Clarkson stated that any new entrant, be it Cadillac or Audi, would jump at the chance to sign Horner. This adds even more pressure, as Horner would not just be an advisor. He would be the symbol of the project, someone capable of shifting the flow of attention. Cadillac, for its part, doesn't deny the move, but remains discreet. Sources close to the project indicate they are in talks with several personalities, seeking technical expertise and image, and Horner appears at the top of the list. This entire strategy is supported by the entry of TWG Motorsports, which took over the Cadillac/Andretti project, including the presence of Pat Simons in technical development. Now, there's a personal factor involved. Daniel Ricciardo and Sergio Perez, two former Red Bull drivers, are also mentioned as potential supporting actors in this American film. Perez, in particular, made sharp statements, saying he had it on good authority that Red Bull regretted firing him and that he would not return as a reserve, reinforcing that he would only pursue competitive opportunities, such as Cadillac. Ricciardo has denied any contact, but the channel remains open, especially if Horner takes the top seat. Cadillac has been officially approved by the FIA and Formula One management to debut as the 11th team on the grid in 2026, marking the first entry by an all-new brand since Haas in 2016. The expansion to 11 teams was called a transformative moment by the FIA president, who highlighted that the arrival of GM/Cadillac aligned with the new 2026 technical rules and ushered in a new era for the sport. The support of American giant General Motors and TWG Motorsports was decisive. A commercial agreement in principle with F1, signed in November 2024, evolved into final approval in March 2025. GM, through the Cadillac brand, assumes the role of driving force behind the project, with TWG Motorsports leading operations and Dan Torres named CEO with broad executive power. Since the institutional green light, the team has mobilized at a rapid pace. It currently employs more than 200 employees dedicated to aerodynamics, chassis development, software, and vehicle dynamics simulation, with bases in Silverstone, England, Fishers, Indiana, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Warren, Michigan. Graham Lodon, formerly of Marussia/Virgin, is the main team and declared that the objective is not just to arrive to compete, but to be as competitive as possible from the start. Already Peter Krala, former Haas manager, was hired as race team manager in April 2025, adding crucial experience to the Cadillac paddock. The technical project is ambitious. Initially, the team will use engines and gearboxes supplied by Ferrari in a multi-year contract valid from its debut season. However, in parallel, GM created the GM Performance Power Units LLC, led by Russ Oblines, with the goal of developing its own engines by 2028 to 2029 and transforming Cadillac into a full-works team. Production facilities include a 204,000 square foot complex near GM's Technical Center in Concord, North Carolina, dedicated to the power unit plant, an estimated investment of $65 to $70 million, with an additional $75 to $80 million to begin operations, as well as the assembly headquarters in Fishers, Indiana, and a technical site in Silverstone. The development schedule is meticulous. Construction of the factory begins in the first quarter of 2025, with operations scheduled until mid-2027, operating Ferrari engines until the transition to its own unit in 2028 or 2029. In addition to engineering, recruitment is filling Cadillac's ranks with veterans and newcomers. Names like Nick Chester and Pat Simons are already part of the technical team, combining F1 experience with youth and innovation. The grid expansion from 10 to 11 teams with 22 cars on the track represents not only a numerical change, but also a symbol of F1's global expansion in the U.S. 3 American races in 2025, Miami, Las Vegas, and Austin, demonstrate why GM chose this moment to invest in brand recognition and audience reach. For Horner, the Cadillac project represents a golden opportunity to return to doing what he always did best: build a team from scratch, away from the historical pressure of Red Bull. He can occupy a position of real power, design structures, and lead a technical and marketing operation from start to finish, with the financial backing of a giant automaker and complete freedom, something he would hardly have had in Milton Keynes. Furthermore, its visibility in the American market would increase with its involvement in a GM project. Now for Sergio Perez, now is the time to take the next step in your career. After a poor 2024 season and his dismissal from Red Bull, Perez stated that he would only return if there was a project that fully motivates him, where his experience would be valued and he would have a central role, not just a supporting role or a reserve role. Perez also stated in an interview that he has a reliable source saying that Red Bull regrets his departure, a strain that could make Cadillac an attractive alternative. Daniel Ricciardo, in turn, still charms with the personality and charisma he maintained even outside of Formula One. Although he confirmed that he is enjoying life in slow mode and taking advantage of new projects away from the grid, rumors still link him to Cadillac, especially for the marketing appeal it would bring in the US, in addition to the chance to lead a new team without the pressure of immediate victory. However, sources indicate that Ricciardo denies active Interresto return and rejects being just a marketing name, preferring a motivated and competitive return. According to lists released by Graham Lodon and recent reports, it includes candidates like Perez, Ricciardo, Bottas, Mick Schumacher, and young talents like Colton Herta and Felipe Drugovich. Christian Horner joining Cadillac would be more than a job change. It would be an institutional earthquake, reshaping teams, contracts, and strategies. First, imagine the shock of seeing a former Red Bull driver with real power in a new and ambitious project. It could trigger a talent migration and influence the driver market, especially if names like Perez, Ricciardo, Bottas, or even youngsters like Herta are involved, triggering a domino effect in the grid. If Horner brings expertise to Cadillac, GM/Andretti gains immediate legitimacy. The brand is already investing $450 million in the entry fee and $140 to $155 million in the U.S. factory, which gives the project momentum. The image and marketing return is enormous. As GM CEO Mary Barra said, Cadillac's entry is crucial to repositioning the brand globally. On the other hand, established teams would face immediate financial challenges. With 11 teams in 2026, the prize money will be divided among more participants, and many team principals warn that the $450 million fee does not fully offset this dilution, especially according to Toto Wolff, who believes the amount is insufficient to offset the loss of revenue. From a technical point of view, Cadillac will have a strategic advantage in developing the car according to the ATR aerodynamic restrictions. As a new team, or at the bottom of the table, it has access to 115% of wind tunnel and CFD baseline, which is much more than the strongest teams who are restricted to 70–80%. This gives Cadillac the time and freedom to ramp up its testing, while others balance the development of the 2025 car with the 2026 project. If Horner is there, with a voice and a solid technical team, Nick Chester, Pat Simons, John McQuilliam, among others, this could accelerate Cadillac in its first year, transforming an American project into a real competitor from the start.